Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. Today, we're going to be having some Brewers talk. We're going to see what's going on right now with the Brew Crew, and then we're going to look at a little bit of Packers and Badger football news to carry us through the rest of this Thursday here. So, with the Brewers yesterday, 110 start in the blazing heat, the Brewers took care of the Twins in extra innings. It was a dominant effort by the Brewers offense. They look good. The Brewers offense, since the start of that Rangers series, I don't know what flipped the script. If that plane ride down to Texas from Los Angeles where they struggled, I don't know what it was, but when they got there, all of a sudden they just picked it up. So love to see it out of this Brewers team. We will go over yesterday's game there. First, the Twins. Pulling up the stats here for the Brewers. Christian Yelich 1 for 4 on the game. William Contreras, 1 for 3 on the game. He had an RBI, 2 walks in total. Carlos Santana, he's been hitting better as of late, 2 for 4 on the game. Willie Adames, that's a big story for the Brewers right now. He sat 2 for 5 on the game, 3 RBIs, had a big 2-run home run late, and then had the RBI single that tied it in the 10th. So got that game, it kept the game going for the Brewers there. Looking down the rest of the list here, Monasterio 1 for 5. It was good to see him early on, bases loaded. He came up 2 outs, delivered a big RBI single for this Brewers team. Bryce Terang, the walk-off, he had the big walk-off hit for the Brewers. Little dribbler down the third base line, but that's what happens. These freshmen, they call them, these rookies, they put the ball in play. They got some wheels, and they can run, and that's what Terang really showed off there on that hit. And Tyrone Taylor, I really hope Tyrone and Adames are here to stay because Tyrone had a big hit for the Brewers there, and that was good to see out of Tyrone Taylor, that big home run that tied it late in the game there and got this game into extra innings for the Brewers. So great to see out of Tyrone Taylor. Looking at the pitching in that game, Corbin Burnes, 6 innings, 6 runs, 6 earns. Corbin Burnes got a little roughed up there in his outing. 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, gave up 3 home runs. The home run ball, once again, kills this pitching staff for the Brewers. Abner Uribe came in after Burnes, win an inning, 2 strikeouts, so a good outing from Uribe. Pampas then 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Devin Williams came in the 9th, had an inning of work, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, got out of a mess. And then Paguero gave up a run on a hit, 2 walks, but got out of that inning there and got the Brewers to the bottom half, only trailing by a run. I know it's not so good to say, but got them there trailing by a run. The Brewers were able to take care of it and took care of business against this Minnesota Twins offense. Held the Twins in check. It hits across the board for the Twins yesterday. Kepler had 2 hits on the day, and Jeffress had 2 hits on the day for the Twins. Brewers got to Maeda for 3 runs. Pagan gave up 2 runs, then 1 run against Thibar, and then Yohan Duran actually gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, and an inning and 2/3 of work. He gave up the RBI single to Adames, and then also gave up that big walk-off hit by Terang. We'll call it a big one, but it was really didn't make it much past the pitcher's mound for Terang in that one. But good to see Brewers keep the win streak going. They're hot right now, won 5 in a row. They got an off day today, and then they will play the Padres over the weekend. And that's what we'll jump into here quick. It looks like we're not going to avoid Yu Darvish in this one. First game of the series, Brandon Woodruff is going to square off with Yu Darvish. So looking to be a solid pitching matchup there at American Family Field to start out this big 3-game set here against the Padres. They've been struggling this season, but that's still not to say this Padres offense can't heat up. And looking at this Brewers offense against Yu Darvish, there's struggles. Looks like Terang, he's got a .333 average against them in 3 at-bats. Rowdy Tellez, 6 at-bats. He's got a .333 average. And William Contreras in 6 at-bats. He's got a home run against Yu Darvish and a .333 average. I expect to see a good series out of the Brewers offense once again, and that is the hope that Willie Adames can stay hot here for the Brewers. I'm just pulling up his stats here real quick. Check them out. Let's see. Over the last 7 games for Willie Adames, a .379 average, 11 hits and 29 at-bats, 3 home runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, he's just finally finding a little bit, but a lot of people are looking at his season average, and I agree. his season average looks like crap. It really does. It looks terrible. And you look at even a guy like Tyrone Taylor. It would take a lot. It would take 4 for 4 efforts for about 2 weeks straight for them to make them averages look anywhere near decent. But that's not going to happen. Right now, what we're looking with Willie Adames and Tyrone Taylor, we've hated on them all year long. A lot of Brewer fans have. We've been asking ourselves, why is Tyrone Taylor getting playing time? Why is Willie Adames getting playing time? Right now, they're riding the hot hand. These two are hot. It's hard to take them out of the lineup. But yes, you look at Willie Adames' season average, terrible. You look at his stats top to bottom on the season, he has been struggling all year long. 214 average for him, 296 on base percentage, 696 OPS. I agree, those are not great numbers, not at all. But I look at the last 7 games here, even the last 15 games. Last 15 games, 271 hitter. I can live with that. If Willie Adames goes the rest of the season, he's a 271 hitter over those games. I can live with that. That is a solid hitter right there in my lineup. And he's not Willie Adames. I was watching that game against the Twins, and he came up in another big spot. He had another spot where he could potentially produce more runs for this Brewers team, and he went down swinging. And I said to myself, looking at his career stats, we've talked about his career stats on here. This is what I expected. He's not going to deliver every single time. But then you look back earlier on in that game, that big 2-run home run to bring him within a run. And then late in the game there, that RBI single that actually tied it there when Santana scored. And then he ended up at second with a double there. And that's what actually started that rally. That's what I expect out of Willie Adames. He's not that star-studded, he's going to come up with a hit every single time kind of guy. He's average. He's going to hit us a couple bombs here. I think, honestly, these past couple seasons with Willie Adames on this team, he's kind of last year home run ball blessed us. And then when he first came over, he was a good hitter. He found his stride and he was hot. And he didn't really cool off there for this Brewers team. And we kind of expected that back. And that's what I think a lot of people need to come back to the realization of is that Willie Adames is a streaky hitter. And I listened to Craig Counsell talk about Willie Adames, and he even said, he's like, this offense is rolling right now simply because Willie Adames is finding some good swings. And the offense, it flourishes with Willie Adames hitting. Even if he's hitting at a 271 clip, we can live with that. We can live with that as Brewer fans if Willie Adames is hitting that 271 clip the rest of the way. If his average is sitting at 230, 240 to end this season, that's A-okay with me. He sticks with this 2-for-5 efforts that he's been having here, or the 3-for-3 every once in a while, 3-for-4, whatever it is. I can live with that out of Willie Adames here, especially heading into this final stretch. We're going to need Willie Adames. I mean, there's no guy in AAA that we can call up that's going to immediately replace him in this lineup. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, put Turang at short. Okay, put Turang at shortstop. Then you open up that hole at second base. Okay, well, now they say, well, we can move Monasterio over there. Okay, now who's your third baseman? Right now, the way that the Brewers are playing this, Brian Anderson will be that third baseman. And Brian Anderson is not hitting very well himself right now for this Brewers team. He's actually essentially played himself out of a spot on this Brewers team right now, especially the way Monasterio has been hitting for this team. So Willie Adames, he's here to stay. He's here to stay in this lineup. There's no going back now. The way that they've been playing him, he's going to bat 4 to 5 in the lineup. I would keep him at 5 personally, but 4 to 5 in the lineup. If Willie Adames gives me that 271, 260 average for himself, I can live with that. I can live with that out of Willie Adames for the rest of the season here. And it's just going to be A-okay with me, especially in a 5 spot. If he comes up with the home runs like he's been hitting as of late, he's got 3 home runs in the last 7 games. He had a couple big home runs. He had that big home run against the Twins there. He had the big home run early against the Twins in the game before. If he keeps coming up with hits like this, I mean, I can live with the 1-for-4 effort against the Twins there, and then follow it up with a 2-for-5 effort. I can live with that. If Willie Adames can keep on this streak, that's what we're hoping for as Brewer fans here going forward for the rest of the season. And then I was going to look at Tyrone Taylor, pulling up his stats real quick. And Tyrone Taylor, as of late for this Brewers team, in the last 7 games, 500 hitter for this Brewers team. And I love to hate on Tyrone Taylor. I did early on in the season. I was like, well, why is Tyrone Taylor still on this team? There's a lot of options down in AAA. We have too many outfielders. We can send Tyrone Taylor down. It won't hurt us one bit. 500 hitter right now. 500 hitter, 10 hits and 20 at bats for him right now. 3 walks, 4 RBIs, 1 strikeout. Tyrone Taylor's if this is here to stay, at least I don't expect him to hit at this same clip for the rest of the way. But you look at his last 15 games, a 349 hitter, 15 hits and 43 at bats, 10 RBIs, 2 home runs, 3 walks, and only 5 strikeouts. I can live with that. I can live with that all day with Tyrone Taylor. And with that, he's playing himself into an everyday role with this Brewers team. Whether Sal Frelick's in there, and we're hoping that everything checks out with Frelick and he is good to go here for the rest of this season. He had that hamstring soreness before game 1. So hopefully Tyrone is good to go, or not Tyrone, but Frelick is good to go for the rest of the season here. But with Frelick, when he's in there, if he's in center field, okay, now Tyrone shifts over to right field. Now, when Frelick gets that day off, you can easily shift Tyrone Taylor over into center field, Yelich in left, and then like today or yesterday's game, they had Canna out there in right field. And I thought that was a pretty good outfield for him. Taylor's not as quick as Sal Frelick or Joey Wiemer in center. We saw that late in the game. They brought Joey Wiemer in to play center field and moved Tyrone Taylor over to right. I think you could see a lot of that late in the season here with some defensive changes for the Brewers to kind of speed up the defense, especially if they have a lead or they're trying to preserve a lead, kind of moving guys around to see what happens there. But right now, it's hard to take a guy like Tyrone Taylor out of this Brewers lineup. He's got a slugging percentage over the last 7 games of 900, and the last 15 at 651. So just impressive stats out of Tyrone Taylor right now. We'll look over the Brewers stats here a little bit. Yelich is still sitting at that 286 clip right now. Willie Adames has got that average up to 214 right now for this Brewers team. Got his home run total up to 21. William Contreras, he's sitting at a 275 average for this Brewers team. He's been he's been a solid contributor in this lineup all season long. Brian Anderson finally got off the schneid there, had a good hit for this Brewers team in that game 1 against the Twins. And other than that, Bryce Terang's got his average up to 225 right now. Haven't seen much of Rowdy Tellez, and that kind of points me towards maybe at some point here, we're going to cover a little bit of minor league talk here in a second, but maybe that's going to lead to an Abraham Toro or Owen Miller being called back up for Rowdy Tellez if he's just a placeholder spot in this on the bench right now for the Brewers, because there's no point on having him sit there. He's just wasting a spot for you. You could bring up a productive bat out of the AAA lineup right now. Mark Canna, 226 average with the Brewers right now, and Carlos Santana, he's got a 198 average for this Brewers team right now. But he has been hitting better as of late for the Brewers. 6 home runs in a Brewers uniform right now, so that's solid effort out of Carlos Santana. He's finally starting to come around there in the lineup for the Brewers. He's been coming up with some big hits, so hopefully to see that continue here through the rest of this season. And then we're going to jump over into the injury report. Like we said, Sal Frelick was scratched from the lineup in Game 1 for the Brewers. He sat out Sunday's series finale at Texas, actually, with that right hamstring, and then was in the original starting lineup for Tuesday's game against the Twins, but was scratched there after batting practice. So hopefully everything checks out with Sal Frelick, and we will see him back on the field here pretty soon. Other than that, Jesse Winker still continues to rehab. He's actually been transferred to AAA Nashville as of August 22nd. And he's back up with AAA right now. So let's see what happens with Jesse Winker at the AAA level. I don't know what their plan will be for him. Aaron Ashby, looking like a late September guy. He was back with the team here, just trying to get the velocity up like we talked about. And then Julio Teheran, to be decided yet. So hopefully to see Julio Teheran start to make progress. Garrett Mitchell, we talked about him yesterday. He's still late September at the earliest kind of guy. It's going to be, can he get back and play a meaningful week with AAA, and will everything work out for him that he feels and the Brewers feel he is back and ready to go for the final stretch here for the Brewers. But other than that, I think we're going to jump into a little bit of. First, I wanted to see, as of today, what the postseason would look like for this Brewers team. And as of right now, the number one seed in the NL would go to the Atlanta Braves. The number two seed would go to the Los Angeles Dodgers. The number three seed right now would be the Brewers. And then the number four seed would be the first wild card team, and that would be the Philadelphia Phillies. They would face the Chicago Cubs, the five seed. And as of right now, the Brewers would get the Diamondbacks for that wild card. So that could be a good series in between the Brewers and Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks young, Brewers with a solid pitching staff. The Diamondbacks pitching staff's nothing to shake your head at either. So that would be a solid series and a really big test for the Brewers there early on, especially against the sixth seed. And then the Brewers would get the Dodgers. If they made it out of that series, they'd be looking at the Dodgers in that second round. So you'd have a date with the Dodgers one more time. You move on from that, well, you get the Atlanta Braves. So they get their easier game right off the bat, and then they're going to play a gauntlet. They would have to go through the Dodgers and the Braves to get into any kind of World Series situation. So with that, I'm looking at playoff odds right now in the NL Central. The Brewers are sitting at a 92.1% chance, according to Fangraphs, of making the playoffs right now. 1.2% chance to get the bye. They're in between them and the Dodgers right now. If they'll get that bye, I don't know if they'll catch the Dodgers, but that's a wait and see kind of thing. The Dodgers could slump. They're giving them about a 3.9% chance to win the World Series. Their projected win total is going to be around 88, 80, 89, right in there. So the loss total will be around 73, 74. So this Brewers team right now, they're projecting them. They're hot on the Brewers. They think the Brewers have a really good shot on making the playoffs here. And who knows, once you make the playoffs, especially with the dominant pitching staff like the Brewers have, we could potentially see this Brewers team take off come playoff time, especially with dominant starting pitchers. Looking down at our minor leagues right now, just to cover a little bit, in AAA, Keston Hira right now, he is still hot. 22 home runs on the season, 91 hits, only 81 strikeouts for Keston, but with that 317 average, that's a solid give and take right there with Keston Hira. Patrick Dorian, he's got a 257 average for the Nashville Sounds. Other than that, Peyton Henry, his average has dropped just a little bit down to 298. Abraham Toro's actually got his average up in AAA right now. He's up to 293. Looking at my list here, Owen Miller's got his average back up. He dropped down to 244, but it's back up to 263 right now. Jesse Winker back at AAA. He's got a 393 average for AAA right now. So some major league guys down there in AAA are starting to hit a little bit better. Hope to see maybe some of these guys get back into the major league roster at some point between Keston and Owen Miller, maybe even. It's a far stretch with Jesse Winker. I don't know why they keep playing with a guy like Jesse Winker, but maybe 14th time, not really, but a lot of times on the IL now. Hopefully, maybe this one's the chance that he comes back and he starts hitting the ball a little bit harder for this Brewers team. Other than that, looking down at AA hitting right now, Carlos F. Rodriguez. Oh, nope. Sorry about that. Wrong guy. Carlos D. Rodriguez. He's sitting at a 287 average. Carlos F. Rodriguez, pitcher down there for Biloxi. Carlos D. Rodriguez is a right fielder. So the confusion's there. The middle name's the only thing that separates them. Other than Carlos right now, Jackson Churro sitting at a 281 average for the Shuckers. Jefferson Cuero, another top prospect, sitting at 272. And then I guess Carlos F. Rodriguez, we'll cover his stats down there pitching wise. 2.73 ERA down there with AA. 22 starts, 105 innings. He's got 133 strikeouts on the season. And I forgot to look at the AAA pitching. Robert Gasser, 143 strikeouts on the season. He's got that ERA down to 3.81 in 21 starts. He's got 113 innings pitched, 100 hits given up, 48 runs, but those 143 strikeouts, that's impressive. I really look to see Robert Gasser potentially get up to this major league level at some point here in the season. Other than that, Eric Lauer down there, 5 starts for him, 5.40 ERA for him. And then Colin Ray, In 3 starts, he's got a 2.25 ERA for AAA. Looking down at the Timber Rattlers hitting wise right now, a couple of the Brewers' top prospects and top guys that they drafted here. Brock Wilken, first round pick this year. He's sitting at a 283 average right now, 1 home run and 17 hits. Mike Bovey, second round pick or third round pick for this Brewers team. He's sitting at 275 average right now, 1 home run, 14 hits for him. Other than that, another top prospect for the Brewers, Eric Brown Jr., 262 average right now for Eric Brown Jr. Luis Lara, he is a stud of a player down there. He's young yet. He's 18 years old. He is on the rise. He's all the way up to high A already. He's following right in Jackson Churro's footsteps. He's quick. He can hit the crap out of the ball. Looking at his stats here on this season in high A, 286 average for him, no home runs, 6 hits in 21 at bats. He's been a solid add for this Brewers team out of the international pool. And then Tyler Wolsener, 95 strikeouts, 4.04 ERA, and 21 games started. So good to see some of the Brewers' top prospects really taking off this season. And then with that, we're going to take a fly around the league real quick, check out some scores from last night. The Cardinals beat the Pirates 6-4. Thompson got the win for the Cardinals. Romero got the save. Ortiz took the loss for the Pirates. Cubs got the win against the Tigers. Merriweather got the win for the Cubbies. Bresky took the loss for the Tigers. And Aloze had got the save for the Cubbies. Other than that, Phillies, Giants. Giants took the win in extras, 8-6. Reds took the game against the Angels, 9-4 there. Farmer took the win. Anderson took the loss. Padres got the 4-0 win over the Marlins. Braves took a 7-0 win over the Mets. And the Guardians and Dodgers. Dodgers up 3-1. That game was actually suspended due to weather, so it will be moved to August 24th here for the Dodgers and Guardians. So some good games there for the Brewers. Let's just see once quick, looking at our standings here. Cubbies got the win, so the Brewers will remain at 3.5 games up of Chicago there. Cincinnati, they're sitting at 4 games back. Pirates 13. And the St. Louis Cardinals sitting 14.5 games back right now. But the Brewers on that 5-game win streak right now. Good to see how this Brewers team so far here, and hope to see it continue here for the rest of the way. I mean, I don't expect them to win them all, but with this schedule coming up for the Brewers here, you have some series that you need to take here the rest of the way. We got the Padres. Then you got to go to Wrigley. Then you got the Phillies. Then we have the Pirates, the Yankees, the Marlins, the Nats, the Cardinals, Miami, the Cardinals again, and you finish the season with the Cubbies. If I was a bet man, I'm going to tell you that series against the Cubs, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st at American Family Field, that is going to be for all the marbles. One of those games right there will be the difference between the Brewers clinching the NL Central crown or losing the NL Central crown. So I'm predicting right now that series will be a big one for the Brewers here. So I am hoping for some solid baseball the rest of the way. And who knows, maybe the Brewers will blow some teams out of the water and they'll jump up that 2 seed in the playoffs here too, jump over the Dodgers. I'm not sure, but we will wait and see with that. But I think with that, we ran a little bit long on the Brewer talk. That's okay. We have an off day today, and then we're going to jump into the Padres tomorrow. We will talk a little bit more Padres preview tomorrow here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. Deuces, Brew Crew.